In continuation of the previous lecture, we will now find out some more applications of pigeonhole principle. Now we come to application 4. Now in this application, let us take a chess master who has 11 weeks to prepare for a tournament. He decides to play at least one game every day, but to avoid tiring himself, he decides not to play more than 12 games during any calendar week. Suppose we have a player, he have to prepare for a tournament which is to be held in 11 weeks. He decides that he will play at least one game every day, but not more than 12 games during any week. Then we have to show that there exists a succession of consecutive days during which the player will have played exactly 21 games. So we have to prove that there exists a consecutive number of days during which that player have played exactly 21 games. A player has to prepare for a tournament which is to held in 11 weeks. He decides to play at least one game daily, but not more than 12 games per week. Then we have to show that there exists a succession of days during which he plays exactly 21 games. So let us do these type of problems with pigeonhole principle. So here we will assume that A1 is number of games played on the first day. A2 is number of games played on first and second day. A3 is total number of games played on first, second and third day, and so on. So that we have a sequence of numbers A1, A2, A3 and so on up to A77, because the tournament is to be held in 11 weeks. So he has 77 days for the preparation of the tournament. So we will assume that A1 is the number of games which he played on the first day. A2 is number of games which he played on first and second day. A3 is total number of games which he played on first, second and third day, and so on. Now because he decides to play at least one game daily, so it means A1 is greater than equals to 1, and this sequence is strictly increasing sequence. The sequence is strictly increasing sequence, because A2 is number of games played by him on the first and second day. So A2 will be bigger than A1 since he plays at least one game on the second day. So this is increasing, strictly increasing sequence. So that's why we have this A1 is greater than equals to 1, and this is strictly less than A2, strictly less than A3, and so on, strictly less than A77. And now because he decides to play at the most 12 games per week, and he has 11 weeks to prepare, so 12 into 11, which is equal to 132. That means in those 11 weeks he has played at the most 132 games. So this last number A77, this is less than equals to 132 because he plays at the most 132 games in these 11 weeks. Now we have this sequence. A1 is greater than equals to 1, and this is strictly less than A2, strictly less than A3, and so on, strictly less than A77, where this last number A77 is less than equals to 132. Now we add 21 to each term of this sequence, then we will get 22 is less than equals to A1 plus 22, strictly less than A2 plus 22, and so on, strictly less than A77 plus 22, and that is less than equals to 153. So now we have total 154 numbers, A1, A2, A3 up to A77, then A1 plus 21, A1, A2 plus 21, here also 21, A77 plus 21. So we have this 54 numbers, and each of the 154 numbers, A1, A2, A77, A1 plus 21, A2 plus 21, and so on, A77 plus 21. So these are total 154 numbers, and all these numbers, since A1 is greater than equals to 1 and this is greater than equals to 22, and so on, all these numbers are less than equals to 132, and all these numbers are less than equals to 153. So we can say each of these 154 numbers, they are lying between 1 and 153. Each of the numbers, this lie is between 1 and 153. Now we are saying that we have 154 numbers, and we are saying that they are between 1 and 153. That means two of them are equal. By this pigeonhole principle, two of them are equal. Now we know from this first sequence that this is strictly increasing sequence. That means no, these two numbers are equal. A1 is not equal to any one of these. Similarly, A2 is not equal to. So no two numbers out of these A1, A2, A3 up to A77 are equal. Similarly, no two numbers here are equal. But we are saying out of all these total numbers, two are equal. It means one number from this sequence is equal to some number from this sequence. So we can say there exists some I and j such that AI is equal to AJ plus 21. So AI is number of games played up to ith day. AJ is number of games played up to jth day. And if AI is equal to AJ plus 21, that means from the day j plus 1 to ith day, he plays 21 games, which means AI minus AJ is 21. So from the j plus first day to ith day, that is a consecutive sequence of days on which the player played exactly 21 games. So we have to prove that there exists succession of days. There exists succession of days where that player will have played exactly 21 games. So we can conclude that on days j plus 1, j plus 2 up to ith day. The player has played exactly 21 games. So this is another application of pigeonhole principle. Now we come to application 5. Now if we have 200 integers 1 to 200, so consider the integers 1 to 200. So out of these 200 integers, we choose 101 integers. We choose 101 integers. Now we have to show that among these integers which we have chosen, there are two such that one of them is divisible by the other. So let us choose the integers from 1 to 101. So if we choose the integers from 1 to 101, there are many such pairs. Let us take the pair 2 and 4. 2 divides 4, that is 4 is divisible by 2. Similarly, let us take the pair 5 and 10. 10 is divisible by 5. 5 and 20, 5 and 30, 5 and 40, 5 and 35, 5 and 65, and so on. Let us say take 15 and 30, 15 and 45. So up to from the integers 1 to 100, there are so many such pairs that one integer is divisible by the other. But if we take the 100 integers from 101 to 200, if we take the integers from 100 to 200, then in that list of 100 integers, there is no such pair. No integer is divisible by the other. But we are choosing 101 integers. That means if we choose the integers 100 to 200, and we have to choose only one more integer from the sequence of integers from 1 to 100, so that this thing is possible, that there exist at least two numbers which such that one of them is divisible by the other. So we choose 101 integers. Then there are there exist two integers such that one of them is divisible by other. So to prove this, now we know that every integer can be written as a product of primes, or if we factor out the as many as 2's are possible, then we can write every integer as 2 raised to something into some odd number. For example, let us we have 70. 70 can be written as 2 into 35, where 2 is separated and 35 is odd. So let us take the number 140. 140 can be written as 2 square into 35. So 35 is odd. So every integer can be written in the form 2 raised to k into some odd integer. So let us write all these numbers 1 to 200 in that form. So we can write every integer in the form 2 raised to k into a, where a is odd integer. So we write all the integers from 1 to 200 in this way. After writing all the integers in this way, now we know for any integer from 1 to 200, the number a, which is odd, that is the number, that is one of the numbers from 1, 3, 5, 7 up to 199. We have written all the integers in the form 2 raised to k into a. Since the number 2 raised to k into a lies between 1 to 200, so a lies between 1 to 199, and that will be odd number. So for any integer between 1 and 200, that number a is one of the 100 integers one, 3, 5, 7 up to 199. I have written all the odd numbers from 1 to 200 here. So these are actually 100 integers. Now we have written 101 integers which we have chosen in the form of 2 raised to k into a, where a, which is odd integer, that is one of these integers 1, 3, 5 up to 199, and these are 100 in number. That means for the chosen 101 integers, there are two numbers having equal a. So among the chosen 101 integers, again by pigeonhole principle, because a can take value out of only these 100 numbers, and we have 100 numbers having a's. So at least two numbers have same a. So among the chosen 101 integers, there are two having equal a's. Let us take those numbers be. Let these numbers be 2 raised to r into a and 2 raised to s into a. Let us take these will be the numbers. Now because these are different numbers, so this r and s, they will be unequal. So let us assume r is less than s. Let us say r is less than a. If r is less than s, then 2 raised to r into a, and that is less than 2 raised to s into a, and because these are since different powers of a, so this divides this. That means the second number is divisible by the first. So 2 raised to s into a, this is divisible by 2 raised to r into a. So we have proved that there exist two integers in this list of 101 integers such that one of them is divisible by the other. So if r is less than s, basically, then 2 raised to s into a, this is divisible by 2 raised to r into a. But if r is greater than s, then 2 raised to r into a will be divisible by 2 raised to s into a. So there exist two integers such that one of them is divisible by the other. But in this result, we have chosen 101 integers so that this thing will be possible. So as I told earlier, if we have to select only 100 integers from 1 to 200, then this thing may not be possible. For example, we choose the integers from 101 to 200, then there will be no integer which is divisible by the other. So one more application that will be related to number theory. In number theory, we have a theorem named Chinese remainder theorem. So we have an application to that theorem, Chinese remainder theorem. So Chinese remainder theorem says if m and n are co-prime positive integers. Co-prime integers are those integers whose greatest common divisor is 1. Two integers are co-prime or relatively prime if their greatest common divisor is 1. So for any two relatively prime positive integers m and n, and two more integers a and b, such that a lies between 0 and m minus 1 and b lies between 0 and n minus 1. Then Chinese remainder theorem says there exists a positive integer x such that when we divide this x by m, the remainder is a, and the remainder when x is divided by n is b. That means x can be written as this form, pm plus a. So when we divide this x by m, then remainder will be a. And similarly, when we divide it by n, then the remainder will be b. So it can be written as qn plus b for some integers p and q. So this is Chinese remainder theorem. So how we apply pigeonhole principle to this theorem? Let us prove that. Now we consider these n integers a, m plus a, 2m plus a, up to n minus 1 into m plus a. Consider these n integers. Now we can see when we divide all these integers by m, then the remainder will be a, because the numbers are of the type m plus a, 2m plus a. So this m, 2m, 3m and so on, this thing is divisible by m. So when we divide all these numbers by n, then the remainder will be a. So now we suppose that two of these numbers had the same remainder r when divided by n. Let us suppose that two of them have the same remainder, let us say r, when we divide them by n. That means out of these numbers, two numbers will be. So let us assume that two of these numbers had remainder r when divided by n, and suppose these two numbers be im plus a and jm plus a, because the numbers are of the form 0, m plus a, m plus a, 2m plus a and so on up to n minus 1 m plus a. So this I and j, they are lying between 0 to n minus 1 and they are different. I and j are different, so we will assume that I is strictly less than j. Now we are assuming that they have same remainder r when we divide them by n. So that means these two numbers can be written as n into something plus r. So we write them as qin plus r and qjn plus r. Suppose the first number im plus a, that can be written as qin plus r, so that when we divide it by n, the remainder will be r. Similarly, This when divided by n, the remainder will be r and the quotient will be qj. Now we subtract these two equations. So we get j minus I into m, that is qj minus qi into n. Now we know that m and n are co-prime to each other. That is given. N and m are co-prime to each other. That means there is no common factor in n and m. Now from this equation, we can say that n is a factor of j minus I into m, because j minus I into m can be written as this factor into n. So n is a factor of j minus I into n. But we are saying n and m are co-prime to each other, so nothing is common in m and n. It means n divides j minus I. So this means n divides j minus I, or we can say n is a factor of j minus I, since m and n are co-prime to each other. This is the symbol to write m and n are co-prime to each other, means greatest common divisor of m and n, that is 1. But we are saying that I and j both are lying between 0 to n minus 1. So their difference j minus I, that is also less than equals to n minus 1, and that is positive. So we have a number, we have an integer, positive integer j minus I, which is less than equals to n minus 1, and we are saying n divides j minus I, but that is a contradiction. So that is impossible. That is a contradiction. So we have assumed that out of these n integers a, m plus a and so on, 2 of them have remainder r when divided by n, and we get a contradiction. That means each of these n numbers, they have different remainder when we divide by n. Because we get a contradiction, that means each of the n numbers a, m plus a, 2m plus a, and up to n minus 1 m plus a, they have a different remainder. Each of the numbers, this has a different remainder when divided by n. So now by pigeonhole principle, we have n different numbers, we have n different remainders, but when we divide a number by n, the remainder can be 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1, and all these are also n numbers. That means each number has exactly the remainder either equal to 0, 1 or n minus 1. So each of these numbers, each of these n numbers 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1 occurs as a remainder. So let us take b, which is any one of these numbers 0 to n minus 1, because that is given that b is a number which lies between 0 to n minus 1. So if we are saying that these numbers, these n numbers, when we divide them by n, they have different remainder, and we know when a number is divided by n, the remainder will be 0, 1 or n minus 1, and these are also n in number. That means exactly one number out of these has exactly one of these remainders. So exactly one of these numbers has remainder b, since b lies in this sequence. So let us say that number will be pm plus a. So let p be an integer, let p be the integer between 0 to n minus 1 such that the number pm plus a, let us take this as x, this has remainder b, and this is exactly one number which has remainder b when divided by n. Now because this number when divided by n has remainder b, so this number can be written as qn plus b for some integer q. So that means x can be written as pm plus a as well as qn plus b. So when we divide x by m, we get remainder a, and when we divide x by n, we get remainder b. So which completes the proof of Chinese remainder theorem. In the next video, we will study the pigeonhole principle strong form and then find the applications.